Hello ladies and gentlemen, Zeke here again today to bring you a mini painting video. I have just set up my camera in order to do this. I've been kind of wanting to for a while because I've been painting a lot of minis. So today I'm going to be painting a old school Kriegsmen. As you can see, I have him attached to a little painting handle with some blue tack. I've already done the base and I've already kind of done some of his boots. Also have these nice little 3D printed paint handles so I can spin them. And I paint entirely in oil paints, not acrylics, so I'm gonna kind of very quickly, I'm shirtless, sorry if you see this, pick up a couple of models and show you what I'm going for here. There we go. So this is my general Krieg style. These are a couple of older school Krieg. This one has quite a saturated coat. I usually go with a bit more desaturated than that. And this is actually not a new style one, this is another old style print. Here is a considerably more modern Kriegsman right here. Let me actually focus on him a little bit more. Oh god, that is terrible. There we go. Yeah, so that's the general style I'll be going for. I won't be using any true metallics. It'll all be grays, blues, browns. And it's going to be pretty fast because oil painting is just pretty fast. So I'm going to get my palette here. This is a palette I've been working on for quite a few days. I've been keeping it dry by, or keeping it wet by keeping it in a container and continually rehydrating it. I also have a little container of mineral spirits next to me. So let's start with the very first step here, and the very first step is always kind of surprisingly just lathering very nearly black paint all over everything. So let's go ahead and grab a nice thick brush here and get some mineral spirits onto that brush and get some black onto my palette. I wish I had my palette more in sight here. Maybe I should like lean my palette up here because it will run everywhere. Yeah, better than nothing. Let's do it. Okay. So let's go ahead and add a bit more mineral spirits to that because that's going on a bit too much just like regular ass paint. So you want it to flow quite nicely because you are actually going to pick all of this up the second you are done putting it down. Oh, there we go. It's essentially like a wash, but it's not really a wash. I shouldn't have done the base before doing this part, but I honestly kind of forgot about this part before doing the base. But that's alright. So there we go. That is done. I just realized I don't have a piece of paper towel on hand to wash my brushes off. There we go. Now I do. Get rid of that. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to take a sponge here and immediately clean almost all of that up. Oh, it's having a hard time focusing on that. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So now what we want to do is just take off all that black. It leaves quite a bit of it in the recesses so you can really see what's going on. This is just something for me to blend the rest of the paints into. Quite important when it comes to oil painting. Going to try to remove that cat hair. And now you can see, once again, you can see what is actually going on with the model if my phone will focus, which it will not. There we go. Let's actually go to a manual focus mode here and just kind of like get this focus done myself. Oh, that is way harder than I thought it would be. Back to autofocusing. The more colorful stuff I put on the background, the harder the autofocus is gonna be. Okay, let's go ahead and actually just remove a tiny bit more of this black from this guy because he's really not showing up on the camera. Okay, perfect. I just wish I could get him in focus. There we go. That's quite a bit better. Now I'm going to pick up what is just a cheap-ass blue brush. This thing cost me 30 cents online. Got it from Amazon. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this blue that I have in the top, this blue-gray that I have in the top right corner, which is just Prussian blue, white, and black mixed together in certain proportions. And I'm going to go ahead and get that all over the coat real quick. Just getting the color down fast, trying to avoid any of the bits that I will later want brown, but really putting down quite a thick and easy coat of this blue. The blues are coming out super saturated on my camera. I swear they are slightly less saturated than that in reality. Not that it matters hugely that you guys see more blue than me. I just like a nice non-saturated blue for my Kriegsmen. So let's go ahead and get these arms here. This is a very quick pass, but you do want to more or less get everything. So try to get the inside of the coat down in there, the underside of the arms. If you miss something here, you're going to regret it later, because you really don't want to be going back and picking up the same paints when you're doing oil paints. Trying to actually get the color right here, because this is turning out way bluer than it actually is. I think what I need to do is actually down my vibrance or my saturation a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit more naturally what it looks like. There we go, and while I have this blue, I might as well actually grab some black and add that to it and kind of go over the guns very quickly. I do like to do wooden casings for Krieg guns, but the barrels might as well be metal, and metal guns are generally painted. They're not just straight steel, so you don't need them to be super shiny or anything. So add a bit of black to that. Get the casing done. Maybe actually go around and put some of this darker gray that you've just made in the shadows real quick. I'm actually going to go ahead and pick up some of the paint that is excess here by wiping my brush off on a cloth, just to kind of get some of this shine knocked away. And that also gives me a good excuse to mix some of this darker paint in. I'm going to even go darker black here and start just mixing that into the recesses. In real life, you actually get a fairly distinct black line between two separate objects that are touching. You don't get that on minis because they are too small, so it is kind of important to try to paint it in. So that's what I'm doing right now, just trying to get some little recess shading in there. This is quite dark. I'm going straight black here, but since this is oil paints, I can blend it into my pre-existing colors and it will look a lot more natural. But before I blend it in nicely, I have to get it down because it's all on my brush and you can't blend with a brush full of paint. So let's actually just blend those in now to get some shading. And got some nice dark shading where I want it now. And just going to replace that in a few other places. Now for leather, I like to start with a dark shade and then kind of move up. So I have a nice dark brown here, which I have made by just mixing red and black. There are several ways to make browns. The easiest way is to either take red or orange and add very small amounts of black to it. You can get different and more natural shades of brown by adding blue, red, and yellow together in certain proportions, but this is a faster way and you can still recolor it with a bit of yellow and red. It's also how you get skin tones, so I'm going to use that to very quickly pick out the leather gloves and all the leather fixings on this model. I'm not the most detailed painter of all time, but I am alright, and I can get pretty good results fairly quickly, especially using oil paint. So I'm gonna get this all on his gas mask here. I like a nice natural brown for the gas mask. I like to keep the pipes red. I'm going to desaturate this a bit with some of the yellow that I have on my palette. Bring this back up. You can see the yellow all over the place. I'm going to mix some of that yellow in with my brown and get kind of a desaturated brown color. And I'm going to use that desaturated brown color to paint these little boot wrap things down here, as well as the lower part of the backpack and the sleeping bag that he has up here. There's some straight up black going on there. I'm going to have to pick that up and get rid of it before I can actually get any color on this thing. Oh no, there's so much black on there. What the hell happened? I just didn't pick it up. Let's go ahead and grab my sponge. The great thing about oil paint is that with a bit of mineral spirits you can pick it up and take it off, so it's not necessarily as permanent as acrylic. Although it is much harder to cover over. So let's try that again. Yeah, this is a bit of a better color anyways. Let's get these colors in here. I should not have already changed to this color. I got a bit impatient there, but I am going to use it to highlight this mask a tiny bit, especially on those little raised edges. You might notice I have no tip left on this brush at all. Doesn't matter, just keep going, keep mixing in. I'm gonna also go ahead and highlight the fingers a tiny bit, just a little tiny extra to make them pop. Grab those little boot wraps again, and then go ahead and go back to your darker brown, or make some more because I kind of ruined my darker brown. So, got a nice red-orange here. Let's grab some black. I really wish I could show you more what I was mixing. I'll have to figure that out at a later date. And there we go, got a nice rich brown, maybe a tiny bit more black in there to get a tiny bit darker on that. Perfect. By the way, I'm listening to what claims to be DRM-free BitTunes. I'm hoping that is indeed the case. But, you know, if this gets copyright claimed, it gets copyright claimed. I don't care too much. So now I'm going to paint up this gun casing. I'm going to skip the Aquila. Hopefully I haven't been painting off camera too much here. There we go. Grab all the wood. The actual boots, I want them to be the slightly darker shade, although I will highlight them with the washed out shade of brown later. The bottom of the boots, I'm actually going to even go darker brown, or even just not paint them and let them be black. There's a handle to this shovel. You might as well grab it with the wood while you're there. And then the rest of the backpack, including the straps on the sleeping bag, which are slightly lighter at present. But I want them to be that slightly darker brown color. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and pick up some of that light brown that I mixed earlier. I'm going to put a tiny bit more yellow into it again, and then just kind of edge highlight all of the backpack parts to give them a tiny bit of distinction. Add some little scratchy highlights to the pouches, which I keep forgetting to paint at all, and they're supposed to be the darker brown, so let's go ahead and get that darker brown in there. I'm doing such a bad job highlighting this because I keep forgetting parts. Okay, and then highlight this. Grab a tiny bit more of that onto the gloves. And I think it is time for us to very quickly go ahead and do the gray of the helmet. Let's take a quick look at this mini as it is at present. You can see I got some pretty good shading there. The shovel looks pretty natural. Now's the hard part. I always like just how the gray prime looks over helmets and shoulder pads, but I know I should be painting them all up in some sort of gray with some highlights. I just accidentally ruined a bunch of my gray blue up here, so I have to mix some new gray. There we go, a dark kind of gunmetal gray. Get some paint on your brush in order to thin that with some mineral spirits. Throw some random amount of blue in there, because I think blue always makes gray look good. So you can see this little blotch that I've got going on up here now. Let's go ahead and throw that on the helmets and the shoulder pads for a nice gunmetal look. Also throw it all in the gun barrel. I know I painted the gun barrel earlier, but I prefer this color for it, so I'm going to go ahead and throw that on. There we go, onto the gun, onto all three sections of it, onto the shovel to get a nice kind of painted metal look there. Military stuff usually isn't raw metal, it's usually painted metal in order to stop it from rusting and degrading over time. So you actually don't want that many metallic bits on military gear generally. Didn't drill out the barrel on this gun. Some people in the Warhammer community would kill me for that. But that is alright. Let's bring him right up to the camera here, see if I can't get him in focus. There we go. Looking pretty good. All that I would say is really left is highlighting the browns, highlighting the grays, and picking out the Aquilas in gold. I have some gold on the palette, but my gold is custom mixed because there are not many metallic oil paints. so it dries out really quickly. But if I can break this little seal, there's some gold under it probably. This little bit of plastic that I got going on here, you guys can't really see that. Later on I'll deal with the palette. Should probably be switching to a smaller brush for this, but I will try to actually create a tip on my thumb. A lot of people will wear gloves lest they get their thumbs as dirty as I get mine, but I am not those people, and I will just get my thumb dirty. The only dangerous paint I have is cadmium red, and when I use it, I make sure I wash my thumb really well. I know you probably want to hear me say I make sure I do not put cadmium red on my thumb, but that is not the case. I definitely put cadmium red on my thumb. So just picking out the little Aquilas in gold real quick. There's not really much other than that in terms of gold details, so there's not much to do with this gold, so get that off my brush, please. Get it off my brush, please. There we go. And, you know, let's actually go ahead and use the zoom function to kind of get a better view of him while having him in focus here. No, not... There we go, there we go. And once I put some matte primer on this guy, he'll look as good as the rest of them. Could also do his eyes in like green or red. I could do a bit more highlighting and low lighting. I should probably go ahead and take the brown here and do a couple of the straps that are just under his clothing. And maybe a few little highlights. You know what, let's get his clothing a tiny bit dirty too. Just kind of stipple it on the base. Later on I will blend this up to actually get kind of a dirty look on his coat. I'm glad I'm managing to keep him in camera here while I do this, because this is something that I would expect to really screw up on. Okay, so now I'm going to take most of the paint off my brush, refocus on him real quick, and then I'm going to use the brush in order to kind of just blend all of this up into the coat, get a nice kind of dirty brown in there. Maybe now that I have essentially a dry brush, kind of go along the edges and highlight in dirt. Wish I could knock back that shine in the video somehow, but I don't really think there's a good way of doing that. Anyways, here we go. My little Kriegsmen. I don't know how long that took me. I guess I could look in the video time. 17 minutes and 55 seconds, so I hope you guys enjoyed this very quick paint video. If you did, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.